There is nothing better than a brand new set of tires. So what better way to start a new year than with a fresh mounted set of J Concepts and some fresh racetracks. I've been working my butt off around here to bring you some new track features, some layout changes. We got some new tools that I'm excited about using, and we got some new lights as well. So in this video I want to check it all out and kind of show you what we have planned for 2024. The first thing we had to do was find this track because I've been super busy on the oval during the summer. Then I went up to the 8-scale track and rebuilt that whole thing, which I'll show you a little bit later, but this thing needed some love. So got the leaf blower out first, got this thing cleaned off, and then got to work really changing this bottom section of the racetrack. Now I didn't want to change the layout of the 10-scale track, but I did want to change the feel of it. And the first place I started was with this bowl turn behind me here, which I just widened out and kind of opened up a little bit so it was better to have two cars go through there side by side. I also raised the bottom of it up a little bit, just added some material down there so the drainage actually worked a little bit better, made it level with the drain. The drain was about 3 inches off the bottom, so it left a little bit of water down there before. It also increased the visibility, raising up the base of that berm, so it's kind of been a win-win-win all around with this berm. Now, after you loop through the bowl turn behind me, it comes back into this nice straightaway that you can see here. And that used to be the biggest jump on the track, and it's kind of unlike me to tear jumps out, but the goal here was to make the track a little bit racier with multiple cars instead of just being good practice for me. So smoothing that out, making it a little bit faster so you can really pick lines and battle side by side has been a really good change, and we've tested it over the last couple weeks, and so far it's been awesome. And it affects how you come out onto the straightaway as well. And one of the subtle things on this track is the option lane coming out of that last corner onto the straightaway, so let's take a look at that as well. Now we're at the bottom corner of the track, and because we took that triple out, it's a lot faster into the bowl turn coming into this section. Because of that, it tends to carry the car to the outside, which is the outside single line that you got to carry speed for, but you do have to check up for that single because it's easy to get the landing wrong. Or you can take it to the inside, hit the double, and when you hit that one just right, it kind of rockets the car up the straightaway with a little bit more momentum, so that tends to be somewhat of the preferred line. But with that extra speed off the straightaway, it's a little tougher to find these days, so you kind of got to rotate in there. So this is one of the subtle parts of the track that it's tough to notice, but it's one of my favorites. It also looks like our winter conditions have definitely taken a toll on this section. You can see a lot of the erosion has brought some rocks out. So what I'm going to do is add some material this section, kind of pound those rocks down. I don't want to dig them up because every time I dig rocks up around here, it just brings up more. So what I like to do is pack them down a little deeper and then add material to build the surface up, and that way we can keep those rocks at bay. Which brings me to the next thing I want to show you, which is some of our new tools. Alright, first thing I'm excited about with our new tools is this 40 volt Ryobi auger, and it's going to do a great job helping me to bring up soil and help me to get those rocks out of the way so I can then sift it and add it to the track without bringing more rocks on there. The other tool we picked up that I want to show you is this Ryobi pull pump, and I'm super excited about this because I can't tell you the amount of videos I have of myself pushing water off the racetracks with a broom. And I've done a ton of work to the big track as far as drainage goes, and we got some good drainage on this track as well. But when you have a lot of berms like I do, there's some places that you just can't keep water off of. So it's going to be really cool to hook this guy up, stick it down into a puddle, and shoot water off the racetrack like that. Alright, this stuff looks pretty darn good. It packed in pretty nice. You can see the packer tool that I have really works to get those rocks pushed down to the surface, and then I can build on top of it without tearing up a bunch of rocks. So that's the way I do it. I know I've had people in the past comment and say they don't like that technique. If you got more time than that and hopefully less rocks than I do, by all means get those rocks out of there. But here at what I like to call the quarry, we got a ton of rocks, so it's just something we have to deal with. Now, that's setting up pretty nicely. It's kind of sprinkling, so that's going to give us a chance to let it firm up. If it doesn't firm up quite enough before we want to run, I'll throw some water on it, but for now it looks pretty darn good. So while it firms up, let's go check out all the work I've done on the big 8-scale track. Alright, up at the big track, this thing's a little bit dirty from winter weather, so we're going to clean it up real quick, and then I'm going to show you the layout change. Alright, we got just one spot with standing water on the track, so we're actually going to get to give this thing a shot, so let's see how she goes. Make just a little bit deeper spot for it, see if we can get just a little bit more. There she goes. It drained just about the whole thing. That's awesome. I'm gonna try to dump it over there as well. Track's still pretty dirty, so it's gonna need probably a good pass with the broom, and then this thing will be good to go. But let's check out the track changes. When I built this track a couple years ago, there was one pesky stump that I just couldn't get out, and that thing is hiding under what was the big step-up jump, and that really kind of controlled what we did with the track layout for the first 2 years. So the motivating factor behind a track change was really going the other direction and using this quite a bit differently. So I was lucky enough to have my neighbor bring his nice skid steer over and move material in between this jump and the lower one that we built behind it, and create kind of a nice double section on the front straightaway. Reversing the layout completely was a big enough change for me as far as layout goes, so I just wanted to change all the features. The most challenging part of the track now is actually the crossover, which before was one of the easiest jumps on the track, but it's kind of a step up the hill onto a plateau, and you really got to get it squared up to get across that thing now. Coming into the crossover is a wall jump into a 180 that you really have to shut the car down. You can't hit it with too much speed or you're going to launch to the moon. One decision I made was to leave this center double section alone, and you can still run the track in the other direction, and that double plays really well into an elevated corner, or it's now kind of a drop-off single into another berm. That's a little bit tricky. Following that center double is kind of a drop-off into now a smooth S-turn section into the bottom right corner of the track, and that really flows well. It used to be one of the more technical jumps on the track, but now being a flat kind of bull turn into bull turn section makes it really flow well, and I really like the feel of that section. Now maybe the coolest thing I did was throw lights up here. Both of the other tracks down closer to the house have lights on them, but that was something we just hadn't tackled up here. Running up here under the lights is next level fun. There's nothing like running RC cars at night under the lights, and especially on the big 8-scale track that we have up here, it is awesome. So let's check out a couple laps on the track, and you can tell me in the comments below what you think of this particular layout. The 8-scale track is awesome, so I'm looking forward to running that more in the spring. But we had a storm come in last night after I finished filming yesterday. But before the storm came in, I started putting up a wall around that new berm that I rebuilt. And I wanted to keep working on it today, but it's just too wet. So if you want to see me finishing that wall project, make sure you hit that subscribe button. That'll be my next video. But for now, I'll say thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one, guys.